Terzi.
Hi, Dr. Sutton. How are you?
Good, thank you. So we have Parashat Shemot coming up, and one of the things I'm thinking about, I really love this story. I love that we're moving into a new sefer because Moshe is such a fascinating character. And one of the first things we see is that Moshe grows up, and we assume a life of luxury in the palace of Paro. But when he confronts injustice, that first story that we see, when he witnesses the Mitzri beating the Hebrew slave, no one tells him what to do. No one's expecting anything of him, but he can't help but stop it. He cannot watch this injustice and just lay low. He has to confront it because there's just something about him.
So interesting that you're saying that, because as I recall, the Abarbanel actually talks about this exact trait of Moshe. And the Abarbanel highlights that Moshe had two different character traits that make him stand out as a leader. One of them is what you're saying, the standing up for justice, that because he grew up in the king's palace, he had this ability and he learned to stand up for justice. And when things weren't right, he did something about it, he acted, and that's the very example you're giving. And the other trait that the Abarbanel brings up is one that Moshe was born with. He was born with this trait of having empathy. And as Rashi says, when Moshe saw the suffering of the Jewish people, he put himself in their shoes and he felt their pain. He felt what they were going through. And that's what made him care, and that's what made him choose to stand up for that justice and do what was right for them.
So I'm thinking about how this relates to us today. And I want to just throw in another piece of the story, which is that we all know that Moshe's actions had unintended consequences. So he did maybe the right thing, but he ended up killing the Mitzri and having to run away. And so even though he stood up for what was right, he still, maybe did it in a way that wasn't ideal. So how do we tie this all together? Moshe being born with empathy, the fact that maybe didn't go the way he expected. How can we apply this to our lives and make it relevant today?
So interesting. I feel like having empathy and caring about your people and also standing up for what's right, not only believing what's right, but having the ability to stand up for it. Those are two traits that I would say every leader needs to have. And also, as we know, this is the beginning of Moshe's leadership. He's learning and he's figuring it out. This was his first instant where he's really getting to know the people and getting to know what he's doing. And I think he did an amazing job in the beginning. And it's so beautiful to see the way he tackles more challenges later on with dealing with Bnei Israel and other people.
Beautiful.